Morning, Scott.
Scott's going to grow here.
All right. Well, we have a lean team here today. We're missing some counselors who are at various other meetings, but thank you, those of you who are here, for making it today. And although you didn't have any agenda items before this morning, hopefully you'll have some things you want to talk about. Scott, I'd like to, if I could, brief you on this Pikes Peak Region Mayor's Caucus.
Please do.
And the subject of CDOT and the relationship between PPACG and this Mayor's Caucus. Randy, were you and Scott at PPACG last week?
We were.
Discussed about extending the MOU? Okay. Well, just to kind of bring everybody up to date, Amy Layton and Mark Snyder, Amy being the El Paso County Commission Chair and Mark Snyder being the Manitou Springs Mayor, and I, some time ago, got together just to get better acquainted. We decided to form a Pikes Peak Region Mayor's Caucus, similar to what exists in Denver at the Denver Metro Mayor's Caucus. And I went and visited those folks in Denver, and it was impressive how they work together and are able to have some influence, I think, and leadership. In addition to their city councils and county commissions, it was the Denver Metro Mayor's Caucus that coalesced around the Coors Field district and then the Invesco Field district, and being the senior elected administrative officials in their jurisdictions, it seemed like they could really work well together. So we thought we'd try that here, and in the first meeting I asked what the group would like to pursue, and they said they'd like to talk about CDOT and our share of the funding. Well, to make a long story short, that's what we've been focusing on. In fact, I can't recall if I told you, we took a bus to Denver a few months back and met with Governor Hickenlooper and Don Hunt, the director of CDOT. I wrongly assumed that because several of the Mayor's Caucus members are members of the PPACG board, and that we always invite Rob McDonald to attend, there was good communication going back and forth between PPACG and this new Mayor's Caucus. Well, now it's looking like that hasn't really been the case. I've got a meeting set with, I believe, with Amy Layton and Sally Clark and Wayne Williams as a result of last week's PPACG meeting, just to try to clear the air and see what we can do to really make sure we coordinate and collaborate both ways on matters of mutual interest. And I just want to say here that it's clear that PPACG has the formal legal relationship with CDOT. Not this Mayor's Caucus, but this caucus I think can be additive, and as it is in Denver, would be helpful. So the reason I'm bringing that up today is I understand, I wanted to confirm with you who are on the PPACG board that PPACG voted last week to form a PPACG staff committee to begin negotiations on extending the MOU with CDOT, and that it will be comprised of 3 PPACG staff members and will not include a staff member from the city of Colorado Springs. Is that right? Is that what they resolved?
Well, it would include Rob McDonald and then whatever staff members it is that he chose, but they would be from PPACG. The option was put it on the, the option was brought to the board to have board members on it, but as a board we decided that we would let Rob begin the initial kind of negotiation discussions and then eventually bring it back to the board. But as it sits right now, it's Rob McDonald and then 2 members of the PPACG board that he chooses.
Well, just from the executive branch side concerned, if that's the case, that we have a lack of representation from our city. Laura Newman and I have talked about asking Helen Mickelbrink, our new city engineer and public works director, to, in whatever fashion, participate. Now, I understand that I guess Amy Layton and Les Gruen have agreed that Helen, in this case, and Andre from the county could be observers, whatever that means to this committee. The fact is, as you well know, City of Colorado Springs is a major partner in PPACG, and I would think we'd want to have participation at all levels in that discussion. To have 3 PPACG staff members negotiating a new MOU without us at the table in a acting capacity, I just want to get basically your counsel, Scott, because you've been there doing that for some time.
Well, Brady can correct me if I say something wrong here, but last week when we brought this up was the first time we had brought it up. So it was kind of news to us, and we did not see that staff group being the decision-making body. Clearly, the PPACG board is the decision-making body. There's equal representation both from the county commissioners as well as from the city of Colorado Springs on the board. And so we didn't see that as a, and again, Brandy can stop me if I say this incorrectly, but we did not see this as that was the, forming that committee was the done deal. We formed that committee to kind of start the conversation. Would you agree with that?
Okay, well, being candid, our perspective is that PPACG that thus far has not necessarily succeeded in negotiations with CDOT in some ways. And that's just an observation I think that you find that the other mayors in this caucus would also say. And by our meeting with both the governor and Don Hunt, and then with Don Hunt and Les Groom, we think some progress has been made. Now, Dennis Heisey sat in the last meeting in place of Rob McDonald, who I think was out of town. Did Dennis give a report at PPACG as to that mayor's caucus discussion? That was helpful or informative?
My memory is that Mayor Snyder addressed that for a couple of minutes, but that was about the extent of it.
Well, forgive me if this is redundant with what you already know, but some of you probably don't know this. I want to say this as diplomatically as I can, that Les Gruen, our state transportation commission representative, and Don Hunt, the CDOT director, have both said now on multiple occasions that we need to move away from this discussion of our percentage share of funding, that's antiquated, that the MOU was written a long time ago and the world has changed and we don't have as much funding for CDOT as we used to have. My position is a percentage, and when Governor Hickenlooper was down here, some of you were there, I think, at Penrose House, and this came up. I believe John said that, a deal's a deal, and that I think he said that Colorado Springs is not getting its fair share. So here's the governor at that level, but here's staff at a different level. So in this last discussion that we had here with this mayor's caucus, and Les was in the meeting, and Don Hunt was in the meeting, they both talked about how future CDOT funding is going to be on the basis of partnering, which is code for localities are going to have to contribute financially. Well, we have already been doing it, both directly and indirectly. Just today, we're going to be sending a letter to them, to Les and to Don. We're going to copy you and the PPACG board with some facts about the projects that have been funded by PPRTA and the city of Colorado Springs that really are CDOT projects, but that we have covered ourselves because we knew that CDOT would never get there. As well as projected projects over the next, I think, 10 or 12 years under PPRTA 2 that will be funded locally. And I think that number, who has that number? Is Brenda here? Brenda, what is it, 190 some million?
A little more, 197.6 million, something like that.
Yeah. Point is, I don't think that either Les Gruen or Don Hunt knew until we had this discussion in the mayor's caucus the extent to which we locally are contributing to what really are state highway projects. Well, why is that? Why is PPACG not providing the information? So you'll see that letter by email, I think, today. And so that's just a point of concern that it looks like CDOT's moving away from the MOU approach of fair share percentages. And by the way, for those that don't already know, the MOU we have with CDOT, our interpretation locally is that we should be getting 9.48% of all state funding, okay? Now, our population is 12% of the state. Our vehicle registrations are 15% of the state. That's okay, 9.48, because we also recognize that more populous, stronger economic communities should contribute to state funding in the outlying areas that don't have the economic capability to carry their own. So 9.48 funding, we're actually getting half of that average, I believe. And there was some disagreement by CDOT staff on that a few months back, so we set our staff up, ours meaning county, city, and I think somebody from PPACG went. And even if you take the CDOT interpretation of that MOU, they're saying we should be getting 7.08%. Okay, forget the 9.48 that we think we're entitled to. Even at 7.08, we're missing $22 million a year. Now, at the same time, Denver Metro gets its full share every year. I mean, that's factual. We can get you all too much detail. So obviously I'm fired up about this because I don't really feel like we're were there in terms of a reasonable understanding with CDOT, and clearly it's PPACG's lead, but I think having somebody from the county and somebody like Helen Mickle bring from our city in that conversation would be protecting our best interests. You know, if we'd had that extra $22 million a year over these past years, we could have already completed I-25 and similar, for example. So this letter going today to Don Hunt and Les Gruen will make clear that this region is partnering already in a major way, and we're asking CDOT to do the same with other regions, right?